I don't know how many of you read the blogs that I write, but last week, here there is an excerpt, and I read it to you because I want to continue this idea. The Torah is filled with stories and principles that help us in our daily lives. These stories are about relationships, and the more we spend time with anyone, the more that we learn about who they are, and it is the same with the Creator. Abraham Avinu had a close relationship with the Almighty, who spoke to him and he listened. This is not something that was high and mighty. It was a very down-to-earth experience. The people were simple, and the Creator spoke to them in a language that they could understand. Towards the end of the portion, we learned that Abraham sent a trusted servant to go and to bring back a wife for Isaac, but that she should not be from the Canaanites. Why? What happened when a Jewish man marries a Gentile woman and they remain in a Gentile environment? The children lose their Jewish identity. The woman needed to come out of her own environment so that she could take on the ideology of Abraham that he taught to Isaac. That is also why Abraham was told to leave the house of his father and go to the place that the Almighty could make from him a nation, through whom all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Our past tend to hold us in boxes, which are very difficult to escape. Often we need to leave comfort of home in order to grow up. What I'm going to talk to now is going to be just the opposite, because it's the opposite with Isaac. Isaac was not allowed to leave now the territory or not to go away, but I stayed and wait. This parasha Toledot is the beginning of Isaac as the continuation of Abraham Avinu, but also is the beginning of Jacob. And we are going to see about Esau. One of the things that I am asked by people is, what is a Jew or what is an Israelite? You know, many people are very proud to tell you that it's in the blood, you know. And then I start with Abraham. I say Abraham has many children, but from those many children, only one was going to be the continuation, you know. And everybody say, it's because Sarah was the wife. Immediately, Sarah, because in modern Judaism, being a Jew is through the mother. But in the Torah, Israelites, they were brought from someplace else. And if they say that, they can say, for example, later on, they can say that Leah and Rachel, they were from the line of Aram and the same line of Abraham Avinu. But what about Bilhah and Silpah? You know, they start getting in troubles. But here is what is very interesting. Isaac and Rivka, finally they have twins. The first one is called Esav, and the second one, getting out, was called Jacob. It's very interesting. Twins, two brothers, same father, same mother. One is part of the lineage of Israel, and the other is not at all, and is considered a goy, a Gentile. We need to start opening our eyes and not to be so dogmatic or trying to be doctrinal correct but to look at what the scriptures teach, not what you have heard from other people. I have from the beginning told you about that I am more inclined to the idea about the calling. You know, the Creator, the Borei Olam, called you to be part of His people. That sometimes is very difficult. Later on, when we go to the Shemot HaSefer, the book of Exodus, you're going to see at the end, there are only two men that come into the promised land. You know, later on in the book of Bamidbar, Numbers. And these two men are Yehoshua and Caleb. Yehoshua is from the tribe of Ephraim, and Caleb is from the tribe of Judah. But I want something very interesting about Caleb. Caleb is not an Israelite. Caleb is a Kenizzite. And he was a prince of the tribe of Judah. In this week, I mentioned this because in this week you are going to see the genealogy of Esau. You know? And you're going to be among the descendants of Esau is Kenaz. Okay? And according to the rabbis, Esau is a goy. Then, and what is the picture that is going to give it to you there? The only two men that came out from Egypt, from the generation that came out from Egypt, came into the promised land. One was an Israelite by blood, if you want to call it that way, and the other one was a foreigner, and he was a prince of the tribe of Judah, Caleb. What is the picture here? The picture is that always the Creator is the one that brings His people. And we need to start stopping about the pedigree, and we need to start looking more about the hearts. In this parasha, I need to tell you that you need to read it carefully and don't read it as chronological. Why? You're going to see that in chapter 25, comes in the parasha Toledot, start with these are the descendants of Ishaq. But in chapter 26, we read again Abraham Avinu, the idea of Isaac going to the south because there is a time of famine. Again, very similar to what Abraham Avinu went through. And he said, the Creator talks to him and say, do not leave the land. Don't go to Egypt. Stay there. And he goes to the same place that his father went before. Here looks like that is after the birth of Isaac and Jacob. But the truth of the matter, this happened before. When they were running for the famine, and he was able to repeat the mistake of his own father, and to tell Rivka, to tell the king of Gerar, Abimelech, to say to him, she is my sister. Now, if she has two children, the twins, he already will know that she was married. But only he realized that they were married, the king of Gerar realized that they were married was because how they were playing. And usually, brother and sister don't play in that way. No? And then came the clarification. also the promise that the promise that the covenant that the Gerar people has done with Abraham Avinu, and how they needed to keep this covenant, and also the promise of the Creator that who gave it to Abraham Avinu now is going to transfer to Isaac, and it's through Isaac's descendants that all the people in the world are going to be blessed. That is totally a very special picture. Then after that, we go back again to the situation between Rivka and our dear father Isaac. The question here is, do they have a good relationship, Rivka and Isaac? I read this about that takes a lifetime to know each other. Rivka, did she trust Isaac? By what I read here, looks like that she did not trust Isaac. And because she did not trust Isaac, he needed to deceive Isaac. And here we see something that is peculiarly strange. In which way? From one side, one father loved one son, and the mother loved the other son. You know, we can talk about family dysfunction. Dysfunctional families is very normal. But here is something that in psychology has been proven. You know, when parents they have children, usually the firstborn belongs to the father. The second child belongs to the mother. The third child belongs to the father. The fourth child belongs to the mother. In other words, the odd numbers on the children are for the father, and the even numbers are for the mothers. You know, they have the favorites. You know, that is a natural thing you develop. There is no an explanation, but it's a fact. You know, and you go to any family, you're going to see that happens. But the parents, they need to be very careful that they don't show preference to any of the children. They need to treat their children normal. But here say that Isaac loved Esau and Rivka loved Jacob. What is telling you there? That already there is a division. Next, what is interesting here is, was no Isaac a man of God, a patriarch who had been following the leadership and the teachings of his father? He's not the one that went through the Akedah. No, he's not the one that gave his life almost sacrificially. Whether he didn't have enough common sense, what will be the best person to lead the community to the ideology that they have, that the Father has given to us? Sometimes we try to everything to over-spiritualize to the point that we lose the criteria about how humans we are. No? We see here that is Rivka who goes to ask the Creator, Lama say, what happened to me, no? And the Creator tells you have two nations within you. And they are fighting against each other, and one is going to serve the other. By the way, in the Hebrew language, you can interpret it that the oldest will serve the youngest, or you can interpret that the youngest will serve the older. And there is still discussions among our sages. But let's give it the understanding that the oldest will serve the youngest one. You see, if you keep reading, you're going to keep reading the the scripture is just the opposite. It's the youngest that would be under the oldest. But let me stop there and go back to the story. She received this supposedly a foretelling from the Creator, like a revelation. Do we know if she shared this with her husband? For what we are reading, looks like that he didn't know. Because if he knew that, I am pretty sure that he will be more careful not to do certain things. He was willing to give the blessings to his oldest son, Esau, because he preferred him. Now, here comes the part that I would like to show you about humanity. What I told you about that these portions are not chronological. You need to bring first chapter 26 before chapter 25. Okay? In order that you understand. Isaac and Rivka, they ran away to the south, and they are in Gerar. And they established there, and they're afraid of everything, and he even is willing to give his wife again, At that time, they didn't have children, and the Creator started to prosper him. But he is a mild person. In the scripture, he is described as what I call a mama's boy. Okay? He is always under Sarah's covering. And he is not described as a man of fighting or confronting people. Totally the contrary. He's a peacemaker. He's a loving dude, And what happened here? He sees how the Gerarians trying to abuse his own people. They close their wells and all those things, And he feels like he is going to be in constant fighting. And in order to protect their family, what kind of person as a leader they needed? They needed somebody nice and jolly and very, very goody-goody like Jacob? Or he needed somebody strong, a hunter, a fighter, a one that will conquer like Esau. See, logic here is very clear. If I was the father, I will do the same thing. If I have my place, and I want to protect it, with whom I want to be sure that I want to protect it? I want to protect it with one that is easy, or I'm going to bring somebody who is strong to fight? He chose Esau as a human being. The same way that he was ready to give his wife to like his father because he was afraid that he was going to kill. What is telling you? Do they live all? They were very faithful. They had a faith greater than anybody else. They were very humans. And this is the problem that we have when we exalt people beyond their nature. They went through difficult times. You need to understand this. Life is tough. And you need to go through different circumstances. Everything is so easy. Everything is put in a silver platter. You do not have the desire to grow and to keep going. Many people who inherit wealth, they cannot repeat what their parents did for them. And then at the end, they ended destroying what the parents they gave it because they never learned how to make it. But here, he needed to go through a process of learning and growing. And he thought that the best way to keep the message from the Creator, to keep the ideology and to keep the line of Israel, the future Israel, the line of Abraham, was to get somebody who was strong physically. And he forgot the most important part. It's not about strength by force, by might, and by my spirit, say the Lord, by his Ruach. Meanwhile, Rivka, who was not the woman that grew up with Abraham, totally the contrary. She grew up with her brother Laban, with Nahor, with a very, very tricky people. And she learned to be tricky. She did what she knew. And for him to be deceptive, to lie, what part natural she inherited in her home. What do you think the Creator say to Eliezer? Do not let Isaac marry a Canaanite. And the servant, not Eliezer, but that is the custom to say. The servant is to say, do not let my son marry a Canaanite. Why? Because he knew that if the Aramaics were bad, the Canaanites were even worse. Okay? And isolating Rivka from her family, and she didn't have the opportunity, because she was no friend with the Canaanite, she needed to be learning from Isaac. No? But she couldn't forget certain tricks from the family. And you're going to see that Laban is going to do the same thing to Jacob. Deceive. The same way that Jacob deceived his father, Jacob is going to be deceived by his uncle. And this is what I would call the measure of keneg, midat keneg. Measure for measure. Okay? Midat keneg midat. We are now going to bring this together. What we are learning through this parashat is that there is no a perfect man or a perfect woman. We don't have the perfect mother or the perfect father. But they try their best. And what they do is not to harm us. They do it because they want to help us. And sometimes they commit mistakes. Now, it's interesting, and you're going to see here, Rivka said to Jacob, do not worry, you will not be punished for this, because it's my fault. And if somebody needs to be punished or somebody suffer the consequences, it's me, he said. You know? Do you know that after this situation, Rivka never ever more is spoken in the Torah? We don't even know when she died. When Jacob came back to the land, we're going to see, his father was still alive, but they don't mention Jacob. Even they mention the death of the Rivka servant, Deborah, but they don't mention Rivka. That to tell you that she suffered the consequences of her actions. Let me ask you this question. Even if Isaac gives the blessing to Esau, that will change the situation. You see, sometimes we give very, very little credit to the Creator. He allows us and He gives us what we call it Bechira Haushib, free will. But He will be taking care of our own fallings, because He's a loving Father. And when a loving father sees the children failing, he doesn't destroy them, but he goes to them and warns them and instruct them and help them to come back to the line. because they are going to suffer if they don't do it. Sometimes we like too much about the hocus pocus, and we lose what the scriptures are trying to tell us about the basic principles of relationship. And here we can see a mistake in order that we cannot repeat it. One of those is husband and wife. When you keep secrets from each other, sooner or later you're going to suffer the consequences for that. It's better that you trust your husband or you trust your wife. You know? Sometimes it's difficult to tell everything. But what is important, it is to have a relationship in which you can talk and you don't need to be afraid of each other. To me, it's very sad when in a relationship, one or the other are afraid in the relationship. That's not a relationship. You know? Wives, you have a lot of opportunities and you can be very creative. But be careful that you do not manipulate your husband. Because at the end, you yourself you're going to suffer the consequences. Husbands, be wise. Be wise. When you choose your wife, you choose it for certain reasons. And when she gives you an advice, when she tells you something about that you need to put in understanding, listen to her. At the end, if you accept her advice, it's not her responsibility, it's yours, because you put it in action. Always as you as the man, as the husband, you are the one that carries the responsibility of taking the decisions. But if you are so blind not to listen to your wife, you are destroying yourself and destroying your home. This is the two sides that we need to learn. We saw it here between Isaac and Rivka. And learning from their mistakes, we can learn something good for us. But also we can understand through the reading of the scriptures that Isaac was not crazy when he chose Esau. Or he didn't care about that the new nation succeed. Totally the contrary. He wanted that the new nation succeed, and he saw that the best way to protect the nation was with somebody strong. And he saw in his time who has the strength, the person who has a good spirit or the person who has a physical strength. That was the time in which physical strength sometimes was more important than spiritual strength. We need to start learning. Today, we are more sophisticated in many areas. And we need to start listening to each other. And when somebody gives you an advice, instead to say, you don't know what you are talking about, listen. Take it. And then you decide it. It's good or not. I have spoken many times, and there are two kinds of people. The teachables and the unteachables. Okay? Two kinds of people. Let me ask you this question. Do you belong to the teachables or do you belong to the unteachables? We just not long ago were talking with a person who said, over my dead body, I won't change. I understand this way. That's the way that I am. You know? I will never surrender. Those types of persons, the only thing that they do is they go directly to their own self-destruction. They're going to be miserable the rest of their life. But when you are teachable, look at what it means to be teachable. the first thing that when you're teachable, you need to acknowledge that sometimes you commit mistakes. If you do not acknowledge that you have done something wrong, how can you be teachable? The first thing that you need to look at yourself and say, I have done right or I have done wrong. If this person is telling me this, why is telling me this? There must be something that I am doing that is not correct. And instead to blame the neighbor, instead to blame somebody else, look at yourself. It's very easy to justify your actions. Most of us, it's almost a reflex, a natural reflex. When somebody say something to us, immediately we are preparing our defense. We become very defensive. And then what happens when you become defensive? You attack. And many of us, we attack the messenger. And you need to look at the message. This is the reason that most of the religions are so dogmatic. Because they are totally right. And everybody else that doesn't believe like them are wrong. They do not have the self-respect to evaluate themselves and to see if maybe what they say or they are teaching is not right. Oh, that is tradition. Oh, that is a dogma. Oh, this is a doctrine. This is a holy doctrine. Give me a break. We need to start living today as every day. And we need to be open-hearted. Isaac and Rivka are teaching us that even with the best wishes, with the best will, sometimes they can commit mistakes. And those mistakes can be big. And at the end, it's the Creator who is going to bring us back together. But we need to be open to accept that we have failed. I am so glad to tell you that there is no human being that is perfect. And everybody that tells you that you need to be perfect is lying to you. Okay? It's lying to you. What you need to try is to be your best, who you are. Shabbat Shalom.